Tuesday, December 10th. Welcome back to Damon Bruce Plus. We're brought to you by Ike Sandwiches. Today's live stream being powered by BetUS as well, and it is great to have you back here. Thanks so much for coming on back. It's been a little bit of a rough morning, and I'll explain it to you at the end of the show today. But right now, we got ourselves a 48-hour warning until the biggest football game of the entire 49ers season is here. And look, the price of poker is going to continue to go up no matter what happens. Well, if you win. If you lose, you get thrown out of the casino. But if you win, then, oh, my God, that game in Miami becomes huge. And then if you win that, oh, my God, the game against the Detroit Lions becomes huge. And you win that, oh, my God, whether you go to the playoffs or not might be decided in the final week of the year in Arizona. They are not in charge of their own destiny. They will need help along the way, but they've got to play mistake-free, quick turnaround and win twice in 1 week football against a division opponent that has already beaten them this year. It is the Rams coming in on Thursday. It's the Amazon Prime game. It is everyone leaning forward because I think everybody knows this seriously. This is the only game that can resurrect this season for the 49ers, which means this is the biggest game that the 49ers have played in since the Super Bowl. I don't think it's anything short of that. And you shouldn't either, because whatever this year is going to look like, we'll find out on Thursday night. We will find out on Thursday night. The Rams are 6-2 in their last 8 games. Again, they've already got a win in hand over the 49ers. They just beat the Buffalo Bills this weekend down at SoFi in one of their more impressive wins of the entire year. Matthew Stafford has thrown for 3,300 yards, 19 touchdowns, only 7 interceptions. Again, he's in his 30s. That arm of his is still in its 20s. He is a talent. But it's not just Matthew Stafford and a collection of wide receivers that are going to make it a long afternoon for any secondary in football. I mean, between Tutu Atwell, Puka Nacua, and Cooper Kupp, you got your hands full. But Kyren Williams has been a huge part of why the Rams have remained relevant, along with a rookie defender who is one of the best young players in all of football. But Kyren Williams has already rushed for over 1,000 yards this season. And even though the Rams feel like they are built to throw the ball on first, second, and third down, Sean McVay is stubborn. He commits to the run in a way that Kyle Shanahan has to even be envious of at times. 42 carries. 42 carries against the Buffalo Bills, and it's not like they were having an awful lot of success, but he stayed committed to the run. And then Stafford made the big plays that he is, asked to make all year long. And again, he's got 3 guys that are absolute playmakers. It's weird to see that Tutu Atwell doesn't even have a touchdown on the year, but Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua are real problems. And in a way that, the 49ers will target a guy and then maybe not come back to them for a significant chunk of a football game. The Los Angeles Rams, like a stray dog, will find something that it likes and just start humping the hell out of it. They will force feed Cooper Kupp, Tutu Atwell, Puka Nacua especially. Puka Nacua's got a double-digit catch total, like just about every time you look up. I can't remember the last time a 49er receiver, Kittle, a tight end, anybody had like 10 catches in a game. Maybe Jawan Jennings did that once this year, but, it doesn't happen often. It feels like you can take something away from the San Francisco 49ers, or the 49ers will stop exploring something that is working for them when it is working for them. George Kittle's frustration was brought to bear over the last week, and I think it paid off with him being more involved and having his biggest yardage day of the entire season just this past Sunday. It's going to need to be an awful lot of Kittle, because Isaac Guerendo might not even be out there. It is Patrick Taylor Jr., and good luck with that at running back if your top 3 running backs are all, just unavailable on Thursday. So huge Brock Purdy game. And look, Deebo Samuel, I think, understands that when you're having the year you're having, you probably just shouldn't say very, very much. And I got to tell you, Deebo's never been that loquacious to begin with. Why he has a podcast, I still haven't figured that one out. But, Deebo did say, when asked about his disappointing down year, like, hey, man, you got to get me the ball. I'm not having a disappointing year. I'm disappointed with how often I'm getting the ball. Okay. I guess I like that enthusiasm, but Deebo, we have all sorts of numbers and receipts to show that you just are not who you used to be. Now, if you're saying, no, but I am, and something has happened here that has rendered me not who I used to be, well, you and Brock Purdy got 48 hours to figure that shit out. Because the biggest football game you've been in since the Super Bowl is coming to Thursday night. So I don't want to hear like Deebo, hey, man, I'm just not getting the ball. You're not getting open. And when you're handed the ball as a running back lately, you've done next to nothing with it. I'm all about staying frosty and being the swag that the 49ers need. But at some point, there's nothing left to say, and there's only football to go win. Kittle talked about how desperate the team felt, which is good. The desperation remains, and the desperation is right there for the rest of this year. There is no way to pretend that even the Rams aren't desperate. This is a monster game coming up on Thursday night. Again, rookie linebacker Jared Verse. This young man has played himself into Defensive Rookie of the Year conversation. He is the reason why the phrase, geez, I miss Aaron Donald, isn't uttered with every single defensive snap of the season that the Rams have taken. He is their strong side version of Fred Warner. The guy is just all over the place. He's forcing fumbles. He's got 4.5 sacks. He plays in many different directions. Again, that's what reminds me about, him and Fred Warner. Guy's a real chess piece. So the 49ers just have a stacked football game on Thursday night. It's their biggest game since the Super Bowl, and that is not an exaggeration. Sip of the day. I mean, that was well executed right there. Fantastic sip of the day, if you don't mind me saying. And if you're looking for something fantastic later today, have you had lunch at Ike's lately? I sure hope that you have. I sure hope there's an Ike's near you. And if there isn't, oh my God, you are missing out on what is, I think, the most important growing sandwich empire in the United States. My man Ike started a tiny little shop in San Francisco. It's already expanded up and down the West Coast, in Arizona, into Nevada. Now in Louisiana, he's opened up a spot in New Orleans. And when you sign up for the Ike's Love Rewards program, and hopefully there's an Ike near you where you can start earning your way to free chips and free sandwiches, free delivery, all sorts of great rewards on the Ike Love Rewards app. You can also win a trip to New Orleans to go to a very large football game that will be played in the Superdome in New Orleans this February by signing up in the Ike's Love Rewards app. You get a free sandwich as soon as you do. I really hope you got an Ike's around you, and if you do, eat there today. You'll be happy that you did. Our friends at the Dubliner and West Portal will swing the gates wide open for you whenever you walk in. Please tell Kenny and John that you are there because Damon sent me. They love hearing that. I love you telling them that. And let me tell you, you're going to love the Dubliner. I will not be drinking any Guinness at the Dubliner until my Hoosiers beat the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. Oh my God, that game's huge. Where are you going to watch the Warriors in the NBA Cup on Wednesday? Go to the Dubliner. West Portal. Muni drops you right off out front. Perfect neighborhood bar. Truly is. And thanks as always to our betting partner, BetUS. Use promo code YouTube150 to get a 150% sign-up bonus on your first deposit up to $2,000 over on BetUS. Use promo code YouTube150. I'm just telling you right now, 49ers Rams, that's a layoff. I don't know. I don't know how that goes. I'm ready to make an argument that both teams show up and play well. that one team totally rolls over and dies. That team might even be the 49ers. I sure hope not. But we will have ourselves a live stream watch party Thursday night, and I hope you plan on coming by. And one more thing in terms of supporting this channel with hopefully hitting like and subscribe. If you are interested in our merch, we now have merch. Not much of it. White short sleeve t-shirt with a show logo, black short sleeve t-shirt with a show logo, black long sleeve t-shirt, and if you don't mind me saying, a very handsome mug as modeled here by Chef A in her kitchen. Nice granite countertop there for Chef A. Although the black granite countertop, man, unless you got some white specks, and it looks like she's got some white specks, they just pick up all sorts of everything. I mean, a grain of salt on a black kitchen countertop is a tough thing to deal with, but it looks like she's got some nice some marbling in that marble, that granite. Anyways, forget about all that. Look at that mug. That's a good looking mug. And if you want to have your merch by Christmas, you pretty much need to have it ordered by today. So just throwing that one out there for you. Thanks again for a literal infinite amount of support from some of you. I see so many names. Oh, we got Habe the Babe in here. Hey, congratulations on your Big Ten champion Oregon Ducks, Michelle Haberman. We got our man Otis in here, Rockin' New Era, Albert's back, Mountain Cat's back, Joe's back, Chef A, always there. Good to see you all. It really, really is. Joji, my man, just checking in, saying hello from Japan. That's our guy. Smiley Dan, keeping it safe. Smiley Dan, counting some cash right there. Counting some cash. Oh, apparently the under hit on the sip of the day, so I'm glad you're all monitoring that. Snazzy mug. Well, Erwin, you've given me some good coffee beans, so I got to have good mugs for people to put good coffee beans in. Stacy, the ladies of the Plus. Stacy, always great to see you. It really is. So, look, the Rams are averaging 23 points per game, but have allowed 24 points per game in 4 of their last 6 games. They've been on a little bit of a heater. They really have been, but they're still imperfect. Like every other team in the NFC West seems to be imperfect. No one is running away with the NFC West, which is the only reason why the 49ers have an important game still on Thursday night. One of the things that I think is just non-negotiable, like how did the Niners win this game? They won the turnover battle. The Niners are a sneaky +8 right now in one of the league's best turnover margins. Protecting the ball is one thing, taking it away is another, and I think they're going to have to steal a possession from the Rams, either with some trickery, a fake, or just, please, a good old-fashioned turnover. Do that. Get that ball back from Matthew Stafford and company. To beat the Rams, they will need to be mistake-free. They played one of those games all year, one mistake-free game all season, and we just saw it. It was Sunday. So I don't know how much, if anything, carries over week to week, but hopefully a dedication to playing mistake-free, not sloppy, even clean up some of the penalties you had from Sunday. That level of football is the only level of football that'll bring the 49ers back into the win column again over a frisky LA Rams team, to say the least. Some business around the 49ers that you need to know about. A business move that indicates, moves that we might see in the future. By the way, Marty wants to know, Damon, I'll be tuning back in with you on Thursday. Fantastic, man. Fantastic. Damon, how about an Irish coffee to christen the launch of the Plus Army merch? What do you mean, like this? One of those? The little tiny boy? We'll Irish it up? One of those? I'm just sitting around calling some friends later this afternoon. You'll understand why in a second. But yeah, I could use a drink this morning. It's happy hour somewhere. Fuck it. Cheers to you. Javon Hargrave has been restructured in a big, big way. It's being reported that his salary has been converted from $19.9 million to $2.1 million, which is going to shrink his cap number from about $30 million to about $10 million, which either means Javon Hargrave is going to come back at a number that is a lot more digestible, or even more likely, based on how disappointing he's been, he is now in line to be cut without it being much of a casualty on June 1st. So there's a little business happening around the 49ers as they start thinking of, how they're going to go about rebooting this bad boy before next year. So thought that was pretty interesting. And remember, at all times, cap room, as real as it is also imaginary, and numbers can be massaged and manipulated. And all I can tell you is that, if we really are doing the autopsy on why the Niners were in a Super Bowl last year, but then not again this year, money spent on Javon Hargrave and depth sacrificed to add Javon Hargrave, I think will be part of the early to identify cause of death in the autopsy. Hopefully we're not doing an autopsy on Thursday night. Hopefully the EKG meter is still pinging and the 49ers still got some life in them come Thursday night. It's just a huge game. So please, we're going to have that studio up for you soon. Kruger and I will be back with a Wednesday morning 49er wake up. So we will get you ready on Wednesday, and then the game is Thursday. We'll do our watch party. And then, of course, on Friday, Kruger and I will be back for another wake up to give you the full recap of what had just happened. And what is, I'm dead serious, it is the biggest game the 49ers have had since the Super Bowl. It didn't need to be this way, but, team squandered opportunities has painted themselves into this corner. '82 Atlantic says the NFC is significantly better this year compared to last year. Well, I'll tell you, the Lions have really established themselves as a team to beat, and I don't think the Eagles are that far away. The Rams are all sorts of interesting right now. The NFC West, however, is significantly worse than it used to be. It ain't what it used to be. Which is why the Niners are still alive. Thank God it ain't what it used to be. Little basketball news to sprinkle into today's show. We got Warriors and Rockets on Wednesday. That game's going to be on TNT. The Dubs have lost their last 3 on the row, but they've won 15 in a row now against the Houston Rockets. These are 2 good rebounding teams. They shoot about the same shooting percentage from the floor. Let's see if Andrew Wiggins can get back, and he's been out with an ankle. We'll see if he can get back on the court on Wednesday night, but this is the Warriors playing for what? The NBA Cup. They win and they go to a championship. I don't know how it works. I really don't care how it works. I am not falling for the old banana in the tailpipe. The NBA Cup is just, to me, all the NBA Cup really means is tonight's court probably is going to be painful to look at. I don't care. No one's hanging any banners. LeBron went from winning the NBA Cup last year and popping champagne to this year saying, I don't care. When the Lakers got, excuse me, still getting over last week. When the Lakers got bumped. So the Warriors will be in the semifinals. Oh, hurrah. Should they win in Houston? Big deal. I just want to see the Warriors start playing good basketball again. They've dumped 6 of their last 10 games after what we all agree was a fabulous start. I know that DeAnthony Melton's knee injury, caused a little ripple in how Steve views his entirety of his roster. But Can I get more Moses Moody, less Gary Payton, and get Wiggins back out there as quick as you can and try to pick up where you left off? I don't like fewer minutes for Trace Jackson Davis, but that seems like it's sort of coming out in the wash. Looney is playing some good basketball, so at least they got that going for him. Steph needs to be the best player on the court again for the Warriors to win, and that is, concerning, because asking Steph to be that guy every single night is a big ask for him. He's given it the office. Buddy Hield needs to come on back and show us that, he's going to be in that 6th man of the year conversation. Big game for Buddy Hield on Wednesday. Go get him, Buddy. Or something. Or don't. Just get rid of these courts. I don't care. It's funny. Now I got the smell of the Irish coffee in the coffee. And I love that smell. I almost want to go up and get a little Kahlua. Be a little Cointreau. Just a kiss. A little orange note. Have you heard the name AJ Debonsa? If you are a fan of college recruiting, basketball recruiting, AJ Debonsa is a name that you have already heard. He is the projected #1 pick in the 2026 NBA draft. He is a 6'9" wing player who, got a body and a game that reminds you of Kevin Durant. He says that Durant is his favorite player, and he is going now to BYU. AJ Debonsa is BYU's first 5-star recruit of any kind since his stuff was tracked starting back to like 2007. He's their first 5-star of any kind, much less the #1 overall ranked kid in his class. What a boon for BYU, who apparently, he's going to go play in the Big 12, beating out Kansas, K-State. Apparently, Alabama and North Carolina were in the mix for him as well. The NIL figure, and I have not seen this officially reported, but I've seen the rumor that the NIL figure that got this young man to BYU is $4.5 million. Wow. $4.5 million. If you're going to bring him young. Is this the coolest thing to happen on a BYU campus since what? Everyone had to leave that party at 9:45. I mean, all I can tell you is that this is a huge boon for BYU's head coach, Kevin Young, who was hired from the Phoenix Suns and apparently brought a Phoenix Suns assistant coach and a nutritionist and guys that Kevin Durant really liked, which is a big reason why the kid chose BYU. And this guy was recruiting him when he was still with the Phoenix Suns. He likes the fact that BYU's got a little bit of an NBA direction to their coaching staff. You don't see a lot of brothers pick BYU, but I guess he's going to be one and done. So he's not going to be there that long, but man, $4.5 million. BYU, baby. Yeah. Bring out the ganja jar. Are they down with the ganja in BYU? Probably not, man. But shit. I mean, that's something else. It's amazing. Before he even got to BYU, when he was still with the Phoenix Suns, Kevin Young was already recruiting this kid. So he must have known, I'm going to take that BYU job and I'm going to bag the #1 player in the 2026 class. Holy shit. Okay, BYU. Playing chess, not checkers. Thinking a few moves down the board. There you go. I guess I'll save all the stuff that kind of had me get out of bed in the wrong mood today for the very end, which means let's one more time tell you that for lunch today, I certainly hope you go to Ike's. Our good friend Ike's has a great sandwich for you. Have you seen? Hold on. Let me show you what I look like as a sandwich real quick. Boom. Tell me you don't want that. Tell me that doesn't look good to you. Tell me that's not a big calorie count. It is. I'm like all of me. There's going to be some pain involved. But steak sauce, beer battered onion rings. We got rings, baby. Provolone. I put mine on a soft roll. I'm not a Dutch Crunch guy. It always cuts the roof of my mouth, but get yourself to Ike's. Download that Love Rewards program. You'll be very, very happy that you did. Our good friends at BetUS helping power today live stream. Use promo code YouTube150 when you're signing up over at BetUS and get 150% deposit bonus on your first deposit up to $2,000. And again, our friends at the Dubliner, I saw earlier we had Smiley Dan say, I got to get back to the Dubliner soon. You and me both, brother. It's just a fantastic bar. I like everything in there, everyone in there. That is my kind of spot. Rockin' New Era wants everyone to know Uncle Boys had some tasty onion rings. Yes, they did. And yes, they still do. Let's not even put that in the past tense. Okay. Little today in history. And then I'll tell you what's got me down. Happy birthday to celebrity chef Bobby Flay. Bobby Flay turns 60 years old today. Bobby Flay, I don't really like him or his shows, but I've eaten in a couple of his restaurants, and there's a reason why Bobby Flay is famous. I've had some good meals. There was a Bobby Flay restaurant that I would go to in Caesars. I don't even think it's open anymore, but that was really good. So happy birthday, Bobby Flay. I've given you several $100s of my money eating at your restaurants. You're 60. Happy birthday to Kenneth Branagh, a real actor, like Shakespearean level actor. He turns 64 today. Always been a fan of Kenneth Branagh's work. Do you like words? Do you like facts? Do you like history? If you do, hopefully you enjoyed the Today in History segment. I think that one of the reasons why I enjoy history so much is because I grew up right in my living room with a copy of the entire Encyclopedia Britannica. And again, that to me was the internet before there was the internet. I would just flip open pages and just kind of like browse the encyclopedia when I was a kid. I was no dorky kid either, but that's how I'd pass some time. Well, today in 1768, the very first part of the first edition of the Encyclopedia Britannica, the oldest continually published and revised work in the English language, was published and advertised for sale in Edinburgh today in 1768. So there you go. I don't know what volume 2.0, volume 1,000,000.0 that they are on now, but yes, the Encyclopedia Britannica has been updated and started being published today in 1768. By the way, today in 1864, speaking of old books that you might have heard of, a guy named Mark Twain decided to publish a novel that would be known as The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn. So that happened today in 1884. It was first published in the United Kingdom and in Canada. It would be released in the United States the following year. So it'd be a year before you get it. But the international previews of The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn today in 1884. Today, in 1967, we lost Otis Redding. Today in 1967, Otis Redding, his plane went down somewhere, over the Lake Erie? He crashed into one of the Great Lakes, I think. Otis Redding There was a time in the 60s where you did not want to be a young, talented musician getting on a small two-prop engine airplane. It was bad news. I'm going to tell you, by the way, Otis, this is True Blue Forever, so right. Otis might be gone, but he will always be with us. Indeed. Otis Redding, man. Otis Redding. There's nobody that ever sounded like Otis Redding. And there's nobody that looks like that guy who's got that voice of an angel coming out of his mouth. He looks like he could have been a defensive lineman. Saw a great documentary about Sun Records on HBO. And they had been auditioning local singers, and they saw this guy who looked like he had just delivered something, and he was hanging out, and they were like, all these tired record executives have been auditioning amateurs all day long. And then finally, this big guy, like around midnight, nobody even wanted to be there anymore. He's like, hey, do I get a chance to audition? And they're like, yeah, sure. We're about to close up, but yeah, come on in. And it was Otis Redding. Otis Redding gets 2 notes into his audition, and everybody at Sun Records was like, oh, okay. Today in 2005, at the age of 65, we lost one of the single greatest comedic talents in the history of comedy, Richard Pryor. Richard Pryor passed away today in 2005 at the age of 65. You want to talk about lived hard, partied hard. Whew. Richard Pryor. I mean, it would take disease to bring him down. Dude smoked crack, lit himself on fire, and ran down Hollywood Boulevard. Lived. Cheers to Richard Pryor. So the very first thing that I saw this morning when I woke up, because I grew up a Cubs fan, right? I grew up a Cubs fan, and to me, my holy trinity of Chicago Cubs, Mark Grace, Andre Dawson, and Ryne Sandberg, with special honor going to Schwan Dunston, the Schwanometer. I had a Schwanometer in my room as a kid. I love Sean Dunston too. Greg Maddux, he broke my heart. Mitch Williams gave me heart attacks. I'm on team Don Zimmer for the rest of my life. I grew up a Cubs fan. And when I was 9 years old, you know, we had just gotten cable TV. And the Cubs were on every day when I would come home from school on WGN. And so I grew up watching a lot of Cubs baseball. And in 1984, Ryne Sandberg won the MVP. I was 9 years old. I mean, his memories of Rhino are just part of all the sepia tone, warm memories of me falling in love with sports and baseball when I was a little kid. And today, Ryne Sandberg, who had prostate cancer, let everyone know on Instagram that his prostate cancer was not only back, but the cancer had spread to other organs. And, you know, he gave the old, we're going to fight the good fight message. But it felt like the very first of what is soon to be a goodbye for Ryne Sandberg. We hope he can beat this back. But, I once talked to a buddy of mine, when are you going to feel old? And he gave a perfect answer. He said, I will feel old the day Michael Jordan dies. I agreed with that. I'm like, yeah, that's going to make me feel old too when that happens. Well, I hope Ryne Sandberg can keep on living for lots of reasons, mostly his own health and his family. But I will definitely feel a little bit older on the day that happens. So good luck, Ryne Sandberg. You are part of the reason why I grew up loving baseball. Hopefully he can recover, but it just does not sound good. So that's kind of the news that I got this morning that made me go, oh, geez. And then I got terrible news. I'm going to try to do this without tearing up and crying here. When I was in college, my group of buddies, my group of friends, you know, there's that nebulous of 10 guys, and 10 to 15 guys that are my group of college friends that are all on the same text chain that we're all still talking on. And, you know, some guys graduated a little bit earlier. Some guys got to the party a little bit later. So it's, there was always it was always around 8 of us. It would sometimes grow out to 15, around 12. But, you got your group of college friends, and that expands and contracts like an accordion over the years. And those are just my guy friends. There's my circle of guy friends, and then we had two distinct circles of friends that were girlfriends, but not romantic involvement, but were just the girls that we hung out with all the time, either at parties or in the bar or in our apartments. We would hang out. We all lived close to each other. We all got to know each other very early in our college careers. And by the time we were all seniors, we were basically a family. There were the Beccas. And the Beccas, literally, I kid you not, I shit you not, it was Becky, and Becca, and Abby. Abby, even though her name wasn't Becca, she was part of the Beccas. And that was one of our circles of girlfriends. And they were also, because they were the equivalent of our Jewish mothers. They would take care of us when we were sick. They would help us with laundry. They were friends. They were like our maternal friends. They were just buddies, and they took care of us, and they would do like ironing, and they had they were just good friends. We'd do dinners together, and that was a circle of friends. And then our other circle of girlfriends were these three girls who were all roommates together at Varsity Villas. And it was Rebecca Ralph, Michelle Barnier, and Katie Terrell. All three of those girls were just the coolest chicks you were ever going to meet. Certainly the coolest chicks in Bloomington. Led Zeppelin, Rolling Stones. Michelle Barnier is going to be in Mexico for Fish, and I'll see her there. My good friend, Rebecca Ralph, who lives in the Bay Area, and I'd still get to see every now and then, she sent me a text this morning that our friend Katie Terrell has passed away. Katie Terrell was one of the most beautiful in spirit and in form people you will ever meet. She was the coolest chick at the party. If she didn't have the good weed, she knew where it was. She partied. She was so much fun. I had a crush on her, never got out of the friend zone. And I'm glad, because she became as good of a friend as I had in college. We had several classes together. Katie famously was sitting next to me when a college professor called me out for being so high in class. Like, we were talking, the professor was like, "Little glazed over today, aren't you, Mr. Bruce?" And I'm like, "Yeah, but I'm here." Katie sitting there next to me going, Katie was on a family vacation with her friends in the Smoky Mountains and her family. She'd married a guy. She'd had a couple kids. They were all on vacation together, and she had a brain aneurysm, and she passed away on December 1st, and I just found out today. That hurts. That one hurts. You won't meet a better person. You won't meet a better person in your life than Katie Terrell. So Katie deserves to have a Rolling Stone concert dedicated to her. Not just stupid little show, but it's the very least I can do to dedicate this show to my good friend, Katie Terrell. Sports don't build character. They reveal it.